I don't particularly like a lot of new music, and it seems like it's a harder time than ever for a rock band to break out into the public conscious. I mean, sure, you have your Black Keys, Foo Fighters, Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, but those guys are long established. And while they may not be considered new anymore, with their fourth album being released later this week, KG Elephant were my answer for a long time as my favorite modern rock band. And what's cool about them is that with each album they reinvent themselves. They establish a bluesy southern rock garage band vibe with their first record, then with what I'd call a love letter to the Pixies, and then their follow-up to that, which felt like they had finally found their true sound. Regardless of how their next album turns out, you're almost guaranteed it's not going to be rehashed, and that's what I really like about them. And as zany as they might get at times, they always feel focused. That's ultimately what I want in a band, having lots of energy and a point to drive with it. And nowhere is that more apparent than in their song Shake Me Down, a song about a lonely drug addict reflecting on what brought him to this moment before he overdoses. Yeah, this is gonna be a real crowd pleaser if you can't tell already. And if you haven't heard the song before, there's a link in the description. We're good? You heard it? Sweet. So the song begins with a simple guitar riff that's pretty in an almost hypnotic way. As Matthew Schultz sings, "Shake me down, not a lot of people left around. Who knows now, softly laying on the ground." And then repeating this in a softer voice. When he says shake me down, he's referring to the drug of his dependency with this sense of hopelessness and submission. Like he knows it will leave him empty, but he rations this with his isolation, not a lot of people left around. It then snaps into this upbeat vibe with him continuing, "In my life, I've seen people walking to the sea, just to find memories plagued by constant misery, with eyes cast down, fixed upon the ground, their eyes cast down." Here's where some of you are gonna tune out and go, okay, no, you're just looking at stuff that isn't even there, why do you bother? 'Cause it's fucking fun. The ocean has historically been seen as a symbol of give and receive. The unpredictability and harshness of it has always mirrored our world. Thus the nature of the saying, sink or swim. You can't argue why euphemisms exist, can you? However, in this case, it's safe to assume he's referring to personal psychology. Understanding why they are the way they are, confronting their own issues, just to find memories plagued by constant misery. They've acknowledged their personal problems and are, as a result, more cautious of where they go in life with their eyes cast down. But the narrator goes against this, saying, "I'll keep my eyes fixed on the sun." He chooses to oppose this ideal with optimism and not caring about where he goes. But the music dies down for a moment. One of the things you'll notice about this song is that the music is very schizophrenic in style, being calm one moment and wild another, almost unprovoked. And that is to convey the nature of a drug addict, swinging from one mood to another so easily without explanation. He sings, "Shake me down, cut my hair on a silver cloud, broken sound, softly laying on the ground, not a lot of people left around." This is where he starts delving into religion a bit. You're probably confused and wondering where does that come in, but I thought about it when I looked at the line silver cloud and what that might have meant. It seemed that the idea of God was very fitting with this image, and that made the line before it, "cut my hair," remind me of the story of Samson. Samson is a figure in Christian and Jewish traditions as an equivalent to Hercules. In the story, God blessed him with great strength, but after his wife had someone cut his hair, which was a violation of his Nazirite vow, God abandoned him, and as such he lost his power and was forced into slave work. So the silver cloud represents his tainted vision of God, and so him renouncing his faith results in broken sound between him and his beliefs. The song escalates and he sings, "In my past, bittersweet, there's no love between the sheets. Taste the blood, broken dreams, lonely times indeed, with eyes cast down, fixed upon the ground, eyes cast down." The tone of the music changes, and it's because this is where he's finally reflecting on his life and beginning to examine himself, like the people he mentioned in the first verse. The song is building because he's building. We can infer that he was lonely from the beginning with his between the sheets line, and his taste of blood reference is a saying that means you feel excitement from something. This refers to what started his drug addiction because it was something different for him, but it led to the destruction of his hopes and dreams, leading to further loneliness. He concludes with the "with eyes cast down" line to show that he was once cautious of his life like his peers before this started, but perhaps out of dissatisfaction he falls back on his line, "I'll keep my eyes fixed on the sun," which then negates everything from this verse. He rejects this as the song becomes more distorted and he sings, "Turn back, now it's time for me to let go. Way down had to find a place to lay low, Lampshade turned around into a lamppost. He's trying to hide from what's really going on with him as everything becomes more grand. The line "Lampshade turned around into a lamppost" shows that small things in a personal setting are now out in the open and everyone can see them, much like himself and his vulnerability right now. Caught in his distress, he expresses his fear in a nonsensical tirade saying, "Walk around the corner, never saw it coming, still I tried to make a move, it almost stopped me from belief. I don't want to know the future, but I'm like rolling thunder." The song turns quiet and he repeats, "Even on a cloudy day," leading up to "I'll keep my eyes fixed on the sun." Despite everything he's made progress on, he still falls back to this mantra of optimism, which ironically is what brought him here. No matter what happens, nothing can sway him to something better because he trusts this more than anything else. This leads us back to the beginning with him singing in a noticeably weak voice, "Shake me down, not a lot of people left around." And then he overdoses. The end. It's a really unique song that boasts a lot of ideas and sounds, but remains streamlined throughout. It's arguably their best song, but I recommend Cage's entire body of work. Their first album's hit or miss for the most part though, and I hope you gain an enhanced perspective on this song. And if you didn't like it before, I hope that this at least shines a new paradigm on it. If you didn't though, I hope you don't shake me down in the comments. And I was doing so good. It may come as a surprise, no other feeling will suffice.